When I was 7 years old, my parents put me in a clown class at a local conservatory for young actors in Oak Park, Illinois. What happened next is not what they'd imagined. I was a gregarious child, so they figured I would find a silly outlet for my antics and drama. There was nothing silly about this clown class. Instead, the instructor was a serious, absurdist, French-trained mime and clown in the style of Philippe Gaulier, a master clown who trained performance artist Sacha Baron Cohen, among others. Yes, we spent at least a month perfecting our mime box. And yes, there were red noses, but our work was dead serious. He held only disdain for the simple chuckle we might earn for our cuteness. He was focused on the real belly laughter. He wanted us to expand our imaginations beyond what Mattel or Tonka was selling to us. He wanted us to take our imaginations up, out of the realm of the possible until we were falling up, where the colors blend in with the sounds and reason was utterly abandoned. He taught us to explore uncharted territories of movement with our bodies across space and depth, in stark contrast to the rigid posture of seats and desks we had contorted our bodies into during our school days. What's more, he wanted us to find connection and empathy in a silent performance, to find ourselves reaching out to an audience in ways they could neither articulate nor understand until tears of recognition, pain, or shock rose from the corners of their eyes. Without risk, he taught, there can be no vulnerability. And who wants to play without risk? I became a studious clown. We spent the next few summers in Vermont, where we always attended a show by the Circus Smirkus. Circus Smirkus was a summer-long away camp for kids to learn high-level circus arts. Those kids became true acrobats and skilled clowns, and I longed to spend summers developing my juggling and tightrope skills. And as time passed, I was age 11 when I discovered the world of the film director and artist David Lynch. Perhaps some of you remember Twin Peaks, the 1991 television show developed by Lynch and Mark Frost about a small logging town in rural Oregon with a sinister underworld lurking beneath its Mayberry exterior. I was utterly captivated by Lynch's filmmaking, particularly the absurdist, offbeat energy of each scene, in which a simple household object, like a ceiling fan or a cup of coffee, could be at first playful and then terrifying in an instant. It was one way to artfully approach a subject matter so horrific there would be no other way to deal with it on primetime television: the trauma of sexual abuse. This is the gift of absurdism. It is a new way, another way to make meaning, to respond when life feels incompatible with life. When the paradox of our existence becomes too intense. The French philosopher Albert Camus argued that paradox lies at the heart of the human experience. On the one hand, we are by nature curious animals who long for meaning and purpose, a fundamental reason for existing. And on the other, we are not equipped to ever adequately satisfy this longing. In other words, despite our yearning for an ultimate explanation for our existence, in Camus' mind, such an explanation will always be beyond our comprehension. We can never know it. We can never answer that question. And it is this hopeless space we occupy between our impulse to ask deep questions and our inability to answer them that Camus labeled the absurd. Hence, that image of Sisyphus eternally rolling a boulder up a mountain. We build theories up, inevitably they crash back down, and compulsively we start again. But I believe, this central absurdity of our lives is overshadowed by beauty and our impulse to treasure that which is beautiful in our lives. The hopelessness of that absurdism is overshadowed by resolve and motivation to transform that which is terrible, at least for the time that we are here living this life. In her recent Pentecost sermon at St. John's Episcopal Church in Denver, Reverend Nadia Bolz-Weber looked around at the audience who had gathered for the first time in a year and a half, that post-pandemic congregation, and she said, I feel like I should confess that I don't know how to do this part. That part where we just survived without being able to be together in one place. The part where we survived when so many died. The part where we look around and see the rubble of an angry, divided country. The part where we emerge from our isolation, not knowing who we are now, not knowing how to have faith now, how to have hope now, not knowing how to ever go back or how to possibly move forward. We who have survived the pandemic. When I say I do not know how to do this part, I think what I mean is I do not know how to fix my own heart, how to soften it after months of anger toward our fellow citizens. I do not know how to make myself hopeful after seeing what we have lost. I do not know how to bring myself together again. That's what Nadia Bolz-Weber said to her congregation a couple of weeks ago. When we do not know how to do this, how to resurrect, how to emerge from the entombed life we came to know and to understand, it can help, I think, to open your mind to the weirdness of the situation, to welcome the strange as a response to strange. In this time, post-Pentecost, it was said the people of Jerusalem gathered again. After the tongues of fire had come down and they were all speaking a language they all could understand, they kept gathering. And then they were questioning everything. They were even questioning Jesus. They wondered if Jesus was actually Satan. Jesus spoke to them in parable, an absurdist concept. Spoke to them in parable, explaining that a house divided cannot stand. In our time, now, as we come together in our season of emergence, we are a nation divided. Not by political ideas so much anymore, but by our impression of reality itself. The central tenets of the far-right conspiracy theory QAnon are now as popular in the United States as some major religions, according to a recent poll by the Public Religion Research Institute. The nonpartisan nonprofit found that an estimated 15% of Americans believe that the government, media, and other entities are controlled by Satan-worshiping pedophiles running a child sex trafficking ring. 15% of Americans. And according to a new Reuters opinion poll, a majority of Republicans still believe Donald Trump won the 2020 U.S. presidential election, and they blame his loss to Joe Biden on baseless claims of illegal voting. And that national poll done in May found that 53% of Republicans believe Trump, their party's nominee, is the true president now. What can we do in the face of this alternative reality? The only way out of this morass is through it. We cannot disengage now. We must engage a rigorous, tireless pursuit of truth. This coming Supreme Court session, it is likely that Roe versus Wade will be struck down. Just this past Thursday, the Georgia Board of Education, at Governor Kemp's urging, voted to censor and to regulate how teachers discuss racism and racial power dynamics in their classrooms, claiming primarily that Georgia is not a racist state. And as a parent of 2 white Georgia school kids, and as a trained clown, I am inclined to invite Borat to some Georgia school board meetings for him to establish his theater playground. You know, Borat, that alter ego of Sacha Baron Cohen, who made the Borat films. I would encourage him to attend some of those board meetings, to incite events that would inevitably reveal that the people involved in these decisions do hold racist beliefs, thus debunking that entire claim that Georgia is not a racist state. See, absurdism can be an excellent way to deal with bullies. In his children's book, White Flower, writer David Lamott tells the true story of how a group of clowns successfully disrupted and disbanded a Ku Klux Klan rally in Knoxville, Tennessee in the late 90s. When the Klan screamed white power, the clowns responded with white flower, yes, tossing flour all over the demonstrators. This really happened. All those things that you saw in the story, the clowns did them. Absurdity can be a mirror holding up a reflection, in that case, reflecting that maybe it was the Klan who were clowns, and the clowns who were able to find something worth marching for. Who wants to play without some risk? We are dealing with divisions everywhere, in our families, in our neighborhoods, at our Capitol building, and in our religious denomination. Let us address these divisions with a diversity of tactics. Let our lives and our energy not allow us to become long-haul fighters, but long-haul lovers, playful fools for love and for justice, because we are dealing with absurdities every single day in our world. It is absurd that primarily it is male politicians who vote on a woman's right to choose what to do with her own body. It is absurd that a reality television star held the highest office in the land for 4 years. That there would be such a thing as reality television is absurd. It is absurd that in that 4 years' time, that reality show star created an alternative reality that 50 million people or more have succumbed to. These are weird days when so much we thought was up is now down. We are topsy-turvy, but we can draw strength from the clown's stance. We can become the mirror to the absurd, offering a reflection, drawing power from the truth to playfully tell the truth in a new, creative way. To harness the power of the absurd is but one way to seek truth and to stand for truth, which is a part of our essential commitment as Unitarian Universalists. To live as an absurdist is an art form This is the art of the comedian, the joker, the clown, to lead us all toward truth, so we end up nodding our heads, tears at the corner of our eyes in profound but unspeakable recognition. Yes, yes, that feels true. This is the feeling of falling up past the treetops, up over the mountains, up where the colors blend into the sounds, so we can see things as they truly are, and all is finally revealed. May it be so. Amen.
Amen.